Hi, training. Ooh, it's now starting. So welcome back to my training. We talk about marketing and all the stuff you can message to the outside about your art and how to approach this. And I don't know if you remember, because I think a lot of happened in between, but the last session was all about theory and marketing theory, funnels, content marketing, what should be the aesthetic on Instagram, and all this kind of things. And today I want to, I want to work with you a little bit more about your content or on your content. And so this is a more practical approach today. And I think it's fine that we are a small group because we can dive in a little bit deeper in that case. And let me share a presentation. You get this one after the training as well as you did with the last one. I'm looking very forward to get to know you a little bit more in this session. So it's about boosting your online visibility as an artist with a focus on Instagram, as you know. And today's topics are: what does branding mean? How can you authentically showcase what you do as an artist or a cultural creator? How you can share more of your personality and make yourself memorable through Instagram or in general through content and messaging. What kind of content truly resonates with your audience? And in this case, we are talking about tools like storytelling. I don't know if you heard about that, hooks, and as well as how to effectively create reels. So branding. Have you ever don't know, read about branding or wrapped your head about this idea? Have you ever heard about it? Have you ever been to coaching about branding? Just give me some sign. Never. Okay. Which is a pity that this doesn't and this is not in our in the university. This isn't taught in universities, because I think it's a really important part of what we do. Authentic artistic branding means that you build your network with smart content marketing, which is, when I put it in a theoretical sentence, and that's what everyone does. And I want to show you some strategy behind it. So, unlike traditional advertising, content marketing, maybe you remember that, means that you address your audience's need for information through valuable content. So instead of posting, for example, the poster for your concert or you in your concert, you give behind the scenes insights into rehearsals, for example, or all the process before the concert or around the whole concert, or I don't know, any other event which includes your art. Social media is all about the process, and this is what is, I think, very important to understand. Social media is not your homepage, for example, where you can put all the stage pictures and all the dates of your concerts. On social media is more about all the stuff around what you do. Content marketing is about building a relationship with your offering, your brand, with you. So we are talking today about what you have to say about your art. And when you have the answers to that, you can individually translate what you do into social media language. So how can you discover content for your channel and implement fundamental messages? And stepping back to the last session, analyze who you are, what your profession is, and why you do it as a base of all your messaging about what you do. This is the start of a marketing process. I hope you remember that from last session. First of all, you have to analyze or research what you do, and then you can create, with this base, you can create all your content, and it doesn't matter if it's online or offline. Everything you you put, you tell somebody about your work, should be the how can I put it? So the base of everything you put online or in conversations about your art should be in your power. Yeah? You should know why you do what you do, because when you are clear about that, you can communicate about that. And when you are clear about what you want to say with your art, then your audience can typically expect what they see on your channels. And my approach to find you in your content is a simple mind mapping exercise. I don't know if you have done this before, referring to your professional artist life. And I want to invite you to do so now. And I tell you a little bit more about how we are doing this now. And I give you a little bit time after my explanation to do so. So this is in German, but I explain what I did there. Mind mapping, or the exercise of mind mapping, is that you write everything down which comes into your mind in this moment. So it's a status quo of what and how you feel today about your life. And this is actually what I want to do, that the whole mind map is about your whole life. So we're not talking about your professional life, what you do on stage, but it's all, we don't reduce it to this one area or this one topic of or this one part of your life, but we are talking about the whole picture. So you can put in the middle of your, so if you have anything to write, you put in the middle your name and life, or I don't know, maybe you want to call it, you want to find another expression for your mind map. But this is you in the middle, and around your name, you can put all the topics, all the parts of your life you feel are important at the moment. So I'm an actress, so a big part is theater, and I also do this courses. So another big part is eclipse.de, but also a big part for me is my family, so personal life. So these are the main parts around my life, and then during the process I found a lot of smaller topics around these big ones, and just go ahead and write down what you feel at the moment. And don't restrict yourself to what is now, but also where you want to go or be in the future. For example, I did this mind mapping 2 years ago, and this is the German word for directing, Regie. And I did my first directing job a week ago, because in my strategy, it was also about telling future, because I made this mind map and I thought, and I knew that I want to talk about me being a director in the future. Can you understand what I'm aiming for? Cool. So I give you 15 minutes, and I'm not leaving this open, because it actually should be your mind map, and you are not you should not just copy what you see, but feel free, and it always looks very different with every person. And you start this mind map. I know 15 minutes is not much time to do this kind of exercise, but if you have a start in one topic and find under topics to this one, then we can work with the small part as well. So just start and keep me posted. I will come back to you in 15 minutes and ask if you need more time. And then we go on in creating content ideas out of your mind map and talk a little bit about your professions and your whys and your who you are and so on. So it's 10:17. Yeah, I think I will come back at 10:30 and ask how far you are. So, how are you guys doing? Hey.
Hey, I managed to write some things down.
Yes.
I think I'm a little bit blocked by what 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 is right and what is wrong to write down about. So now I just splattered lots of things uh,
Cool.
for the page. But yes, for
Yes,
sure.
there is no right and no wrong.
Yeah, it would definitely look different on a different day, I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's totally fine because we change and this mind mapping stuff changes as well. And so not only social media is a process, but also you are. So your messaging should also be in a process. So you can't, find your messaging today and you use it for a couple of years. This is not possible, and this should not be possible because you change. And um, I think the challenge is that you keep your audience posted about your development and give insights how you as a personality and an artist develop. And so it's cool that you have a status quo at the moment. Alberto, how's it going with your mind map?
Yeah, it was nice. I also have a first attempt to it. I realized that it's very important how you start and how
Mhm.
you manage to put things. And actually, it could change completely if you do it other way. So I think it's nice to experiment with two or three versions of it, because sometimes I realized in the beginning that maybe concepts that in the first design were really far apart should be
Mhm.
closer to, or just to have these connections.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's also is a kind of design thing.
Cool. But so as I understand it, it was the first time for you two guys to do a mind map about your life. Okay, cool. Because it's totally normal when you do this the first time that you find out things during thinking about it. So when you do it in 2 hours, it will look totally different. But this is the point. I will show you, or I want to invite you to do this kind of stuff more often so you know what you want to share or not to share. And this is something I want to add on to this kind of exercise and show you my concept of a individual filter. That's what I call it. Because we had no restrictions at the moment. Can you see my screen? Yeah, okay. Um, so the mind map was all about not restricting yourself, but we don't want to share everything publicly. So, for your welfare, for your mindset, you should go now through your scribble and cross out everything or point out it in another way. So maybe you want to read it later, or maybe tomorrow you feel different, and you want to come back to these topics. But for now, to find the parts you don't want to share publicly. So, which areas should not be communicated at this time? This may change. For me, for example, I always was sure that I don't want to share family stuff online, and then I founded a family, and I with my job I find I was faced the challenge of being an artist and having a child. So I now share stuff about my family because it is important for me, or it became important for me to talk about being or having a family in our branch. So it may change, but at the moment, cross out or whatever, all the things you don't want to communicate at this time, because it's all about broaden your comfort zone, but avoid overwhelming yourself. Okay, so just take a couple of minutes to do so. with what you did at the moment. Maybe you are already very clear. And tell me when you are ready to move on. All right. Julie as well? Cool. When you look at your mind map, can you make out significant areas which can be the main part, or which are at the moment the main part of your life? Topics or
Well, I wrote a lot of adjectives actually for a lot of the for the parts, and it was easy for me to talk about. Well, it became quite intense, or like some quite intense topics. I think also because what I've been doing in the last week, so it's a lot about vulnerability, transformation, transcendence, actually life and death. And well, of course, in the space of music, but yeah, poetry, history, so quite deep topics, I would say.
So, would you say that this is a significant topic you want to talk about on your channels? The deep stuff, life and death and vulnerability.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't know how to make that into something that's nice to talk about. You know,
Why is it important to you to talk about it?
Well, I mean, the way that I see myself as a singer is not as a, I think, quote unquote, entertainer in many senses. I never really identified with that side as much as I did with, you know, going a bit deeper into some other topics, but I never really shared much about this like online. Like, I don't really post much. And I wouldn't honestly really know where to start. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We come to that.
Okay, good.
Alberto, did you find any main areas, main topics in your mind map? Cool.
Yes, I think so.
Then I tell you about what I'm aiming for with these, making out the big areas. It's about having some key messages on your channel. So, for example, if my key message is not cooking, then there should not be any postings about your food on your channel. This is just a really simple way to know what or what not to post when you kind of know what your key messages are. But it is possible that your key message is cooking or your key message is garden as well, because things like that can be touching points to your audience. If this is really if this is really a big part of your life and what you want to talk about. So if you have an idea of your key messages, I will go on now. And Julie, one of your key message can be, I'm not an entertainer. Yeah, this is in addition to I'm a singer And another key message can be, I'm not an entertainer. And it doesn't mean that you have to make or create postings which say all the time, I'm not an entertainer, but it can mean that you are not doing jazz hands in your videos. You know what I mean? So if you have the idea of your key messages always in your head while creating stuff, you can be, it is a clear messaging for your audience. And it is something you feel good about when you do so. Because what we are doing now is we are talking about what is important for you. And I know that in our business or in the whole, business, everyone tells you what to do or what not to do. And what we are doing today is we are talking about what you want to say. And what your key messages are. And I know out there in all the social media and marketing coachings, everyone is telling you what to do to get reach, etc., etc. But what I'm talking about with content marketing is that you find your message and then with this message find your people and people who find it also important and interesting what your art is and think that this is relevant for them or for society, whoever as well. So yeah, that is the idea. So you have an idea of your key message. Maybe it's vague, but you can think about it later because this is, I think, something which will work in you for the next couple of days, maybe weeks, maybe years, to always question what your key messages as an artist are. What key messages do is that I, as audience, immediately understand what your content is. Now, I see a picture of you singing. I know it is something about stage, about singing, maybe. I see you conducting. I actually don't know yet what you do. We come to that. So this is what key messages does. In a couple of seconds, I can, grab or understand who you are, and then I decide, do I want to dive deeper or not? Key messages are sure hard facts, like you're a singer, you're a conductor. Then next step, it can be some kind of a specialty. You are mostly prefer to do modern opera. And I put it that way because sometimes we do stuff because other people think that's what we do best. But I'm really asking for, do you want to do modern opera? Yeah, not only because your voice type is so great to sing this stuff, but do you want to do modern opera? Or also specialties, voice type for sure. Maybe you are, I saw yesterday, I saw a reel about a jazz singer and she had the hook. When a jazz singer tries to do opera for a couple of years and then come back to jazz singing. And I resonate with that. And this was kind of a specialty as well. She is now a jazz singer, but she pointed out that she hasn't, that she started opera singing. It can also be a key message can also be like teaching offers. I don't know where you are in your career at the moment. Maybe you find out that you want to teach and tell people your experiences. It can also be a USP. Everyone is talking about unique. What is your unique selling point? For me, it's more about what is your mission? Do you have a mission? Do you want to have a social impact in society? What is important for you? Why do you what you do as an artist? Does it have an origin? Like a special experience in your life where you knew, I want to do what I do now, and this was the starting point of my whole path. And then you had an heroic journey to come to that point where you are at the moment, and you can tell people about that because you know there are other people out there who are at your starting point. This is what I talk a lot about with people I'm coaching. And I want to talk about this with you in a couple of minutes as well, what your path was, because this is really a great way to start content, to tell people where you came from. So this is a sheet I showed you before, and the key messages are the answer to what people expect to see about you and your channel. When you know what you in general want to create on your channel and to say, then people who start following you know, oh, I can find the answer to this and that on this channel. And people get confused if suddenly there is in between something else. And I'm talking about postings, not stories, because stories are more fluently, you know. In stories, you can do whatever. It's not so important to always communicate your key messages. But the content which is always online is really something you should think about always, that it is kind of your key messaging. And your key messages, you can use your key messages in, or you can create within your key messages in 3 stages, or that's what I think is kind of the path people go on when they start creating. First of all is finding the key message, and then documenting what you currently engaged in with the idea of the key message. So you have a job, or you have you get booked for something, and you document with having your key message in mind what is. The second step would be that you also communicate where you wish to go. So you are not only documenting what is, but also thinking about, okay, in the future, I want to, when I speak of me, I want to be a director. So I was creating a lot of content about talking about content of musicals and what I think is important about a modern musical. You know, I was not only singing in my content, but suddenly I was talking about female figures in musicals and how I think they should be directed in 2025. So I was not telling people I want to be a director, but I was talking about what I think is important in directing. You know what I mean? So the second step in communicating your key messages can be to think about what you or where you want to go. What is your vision? Maybe you want to start a project like Tenso Connect. So you can talk about how difficult it is to find your network in a reel or something, and go and see what happens with this art, with this kind of communication. So an active manifestation of what will be. And the third step, and this is maybe new to, or I know that this is new to a lot of artists, or yeah, it depends which artists we're talking about. But people I coach are always a little bit overwhelmed about stage 3, to think about what your motivation is when you do something. So the big why. Because for most people, as I experienced it, it is about, individually develop yourself as an artist, being on stage. That is where we have our momentum, and that is the big why. But there is always something underneath that. Why did you start singing? Is there anything you can think of which made you choose this or that repertoire? You know, actually, you said you don't want to be an entertainer, so there definitely is something um, behind this decision, which has nothing to do with as your why can't be only being on stage, because you want to be on stage with a certain repertoire. So why is that? So this can be stage 3 of messaging your key messages. And this is all very theoretical. But this is kind of an explanation to what branding is. You know, you first tell what is, then you decide or you think about where you want to go, and then you put your evaluation on the things you are doing now and you want to do on top of it. So what is your point of view? I think you, when you consumed social media, you kind of saw a lot of reels where people put POV in front. Can you? This is kind of a trend of the last couple of years, and I think this is really cool because we are not only doing trendy stuff at the moment, but we are really thinking about what do I think about what is happening now. And that's actually my mission, to help people create content online, because I think a lot of artists have a lot to say and don't want to create content because they think it is all about reach and trendy stuff. So all the things politically happening right now is because, you know, difficult political opinions know how to create content. So what my mission is, help people find their opinion and be a counterpart to what is happening in the world right now, and also get reach by knowing how to create content. So this is kind of what your branding is: key messages, telling what is, telling where you want to go, and then putting your opinion on top of that. So these are in general some of the answers of the topics I want to share with you today. How can I authentically showcase what I do as an artist or a cultural creator? You communicate your key messages and question them from time to time, because we're all humans and we change and develop. The answer to how you share more of your personality and make yourself memorable is that you always add your narrative. Now, stage 3 of messaging about your main topics. And the answer to what truly resonates with your audience is listening to yourself, first of all, because you are your target audience. What makes you laugh? What makes you cry? What is interesting for you? What the hooks you stopped scrolling for are also hooks and relevant content, which can be your content in a way. So you can translate the things you see and you react to on social media to all the things you create online. And this is actually what I want to do now with your brainstormings. And first of all, I want to practice storytelling. So how can you start creating postings about your about a main topic? You know, Julie said, I don't know where to start. And this is a approach to find a beginning to all the mind map. I want you to, or I invite you to choose one of your It can be a key message. So in this example, I played it through as my key message. I'm a singer. And you generate on your mind, maybe you already did that, but I want to go into detail a little bit more. You generate subpoints related to this main topic until you reach specific details, moments, insights, sentences, or thoughts to this subpoint. So, as an example, I started there with singer. Then I had the subpoint, how did I start? Beginnings. Okay, I grew up with music. I listened to pop music. I was the founder of a girl group with many other girls, and we had the name Seven Shouts. And then I suddenly had a picture in my head where we had our first stage event, and we were actually Leo printed pants. So I could tell you about this when we took this picture. So, you know, you pick one of your main topics and kind of follow the path to one detail, and then we talk about that. Okay? I think this is like 5 minutes or so, and or just tell me when you finished.
Can I ask, we have
Yes.
to end up with a very specific scenario, something that happens?
It can also be a thought or a sentence. No, it doesn't have to be a picture or an event in the past. It can also be, for example, I have a second example. This is for my key messaging theater. Okay, I do musical. I like non-commercial. Non-commercial. I visited New York. And I always had the thought, why is musical being sold there not played in Germany a lot? So I think about this question: what is the difference between the U.S. market and the market in Germany? It can also be a thought or a question you are led to during one of these journeys. So it doesn't have to be a detail, a picture in the past. It can also be anything else. We will talk about it, and I will help you to find the story behind it. Okay? So start somewhere. Tell me when you think you finished somewhere, and then we can talk about your example. You finished? Did you find a thing?
Yes.
Not yet? Okay, we talk about it. Alberto, what was your path, or where did you end up with which story?
Yes. So I had on my mind map, I have professional music,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have teaching. And
Mm-hmm.
then originally I also wrote like the value of the teaching profession for the
Mm-hmm.
future. So from here, I developed a little bit more. I last week I was watching some videos of when I was a child playing piano,
Mm-hmm.
and I got some memories of my piano teacher back at that moment. And so I started writing like my teachers when I was a child, and also the dedication to the profession and good examples, not only like in the musical part, but also that help you develop as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I also remembered yesterday um, I I had some news of Maria Joao Pires, the famous pianist that is retiring. I think she's 81 or 82. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching her videos performing when I was a child, and I found it really profound experience musically, but also that I know that she was devoted to teaching. She had lots of students, and she she I think she built some kind of like academy or something like that, where they went to the mountains and they were doing like piano lessons for a couple of
Mm-hmm.
weeks. So this was like my thinking path
Okay,
for that.
cool. These are a lot of stories, but let's focus on one of them. Um,
Hmm.
can you remember having being taught by her?
Hmm.
So what was the room? What did it look like?
Yeah, I think what more impacted to me as a musician and as a person was her devotion for detail.
Yeah, for
She also was,
example, tell
for
me.
example, yes, she also was is a photographer.
Hmm.
And yes, so for example, when we were working on, I don't know, like phrasing or articulation on Bach, we will like really try to work really hardly on it. And
What
she
did she
was
say? Can you remember anything she said?
like a direct quotes, not really, but that she always wanted me to have like musical ideas on articulation. And even if I was not like a really experienced pianist yet, but even if the technique was not great, she always wanted me to have a musical idea of what I was playing.
How did this feel?
Yeah, I I really liked it actually
Okay.
because yeah.
Did you have so I really liked it is vague. Can you describe an emotion you had or something
Yes,
you
it's
thought?
more that even if there were maybe some pieces that were technically too difficult for me for that moment, she would allow me to play them,
Okay,
even
cool.
yes, or to experiment with them musically.
So how, in what way did you experiment?
Yeah, like for example, I remember in Bach like doing really strange articulation things, and she said,
What
"Okay,
does strange mean? Sorry, I'm interrupting a lot because
no,
I
no, no, it's nice, it's nice."
okay.
Yeah, like I don't know, like not the obvious articulation that you would do in a phrasing, but just try to work on it, and also, for example, in fugue to make really non-obvious articulation and try and see if it works when you do it in two or three in the two or three parts at the same time. So yeah, just be playful with the music.
Can you describe her room a little bit more? So where did you have to go as a child to get the lessons? Where was it?
Yes, well, that's interesting also. It was in a conservatory of music in my city, And by that time, actually, the building was antique, how do you say this, like military station, something like that. Yes, from the
Okay.
war. So I remember that the rooms, for example, were really small, and it was not really a comfortable place to study music, actually.
Hmm.
But I mean, for the room, the music room for where we were doing this music, these piano lessons was
Hmm.
nice because he was there and he was also always like very responsive to our needs. And also, I don't know, like I stayed in lessons for much later than it was expected. So, for example, if it was just 1 hour, she would keep teaching for maybe 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
nice
So
experience.
can you feel what I'm aiming for?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
because what happens in your face is emotion. And this is what,
Mhm.
what draws me to your story.
Yeah.
And all the details put pictures in my head.
Uh-huh.
In the end, you just you just wrapped it up because you started with she's my teacher is retiring, she's 80 and she was devoted to teaching. And in the end, we found out that it actually was not a comfortable space where you were
Mhm.
taught, but she made it comfortable. And this is
Mhm.
how. You were emphasizing the opposite of what Bach wanted, but it was fun and it made an emotion. It made you, we can describe that a little bit more. Um,
Yeah.
but this is what storytelling is. We dive into detail. We find the what is Bogen in English? So beginning and end, which is where you can the story place
Mhm.
to Google the
Context
the
or
context, yeah. But you also have a message, a moral to it. You wanted this to tell people that she was a great teacher,
Mhm.
but you tell them through the story of you
Mhm.
going to the military, actually antique military, not very comfortable place, but she made it comfortable. And in
Mhm.
examples and details, you let people or you put pictures in people's heads, and this is how they keep reading.
Mhm.
Because we would have the impulse to just write, oh, my teacher is retiring, I learned a lot, she was a very devoted teacher. This is what we or what most people would prefer to write in a post. But and it has to do with braveness, I think, to write more and to share more about your personality, about your past, is what actually brands you, creates touching points to your audience, and builds a relationship. Because I don't know, Julie, what did you think? Did you start thinking about your teachers when you listened to Alberto? Yes, me too. This is what happens, and this doesn't happen when you just read one sentence. Okay, Julie, let's hear what you where you. Oh, I think I saw you writing stuff down a lot when Alberto was talking.
Yes.
So, where are you at the moment with
So I
detail?
started with thinking, okay, what was the time when music really started to click for me in a
Mhm.
different way? So as a child, I always sang a lot. It was just something instinctive.
What did you sing?
Well, I mean, anything basically. I was
Okay.
singing along with the radio. Like, I didn't come from a family that's necessarily made music a big priority. I don't have other musicians in the family, but I was
Can you
always
can you can you remember one song you love to to listen to radio, or when it was on the radio, you were like, oh my God, yeah, I have to sing it?
I don't know, but I remember my mom coming in like every week on the television. Like there was a very nerdy program on Saturday which was like all the hymns for the church Sundays were being played like on Saturday, and she told me she would come in and see me watching that and singing along, and she was like, Julia, do you know this song? And I was like, no, but the text is right there. Like it was just a thing. Like I was just singing along.
How old were you?
I don't know, 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But I was back then. I was much more interested in history actually, and so the click for me kind of happened when, kind of by chance, I went to the local church and auditioned for the church choir because I heard that you could earn some pocket money by singing in service. That was my motivation. And but then when we started singing this old music, like we were singing some Martini, we were singing some Pergolesi, this stuff, it started to click for me, like this connection between history and music, and it got me completely hooked. Like we would have in the church that I was singing in, there was also these old, I don't know how to say, kalkmalerier, chalk paintings, like old medieval paintings. It was famous. That church was kind of famous for these like medieval paintings, and I just felt so much like a time traveler. There was another place where we went to sing, which was in a castle that had this chapel with a very old organ, and behind the organ you would go up the stairs and you would see this graffiti, kind of people carving things into the wood there from like 14th or 15th hundreds.
What was standing there? Can you remember something? What you saw?
No, I don't remember the exact things, but I just remember thinking, wow, humans have always been like this. Isn't that so cool? And just feeling like a time traveler. And this is just still something that hooks me so much and gets me like so excited. Like recently I was reading a travel diary, music by a music historian, and it's from 1770. So he's writing down his experiences going through Europe and meeting musicians and talking to them. And I still get this excitement, like I'm a time traveler. And yeah, just that there are so many common themes about humans that are just always being recycled. And for me, that was the hook for doing music. Like I want to have this feeling.
So I like your story a lot. In the story are already 3 posting ideas.
Okay.
No? So the key, and this is what the last session was about, is to focus on one story so people can follow. I tell you what in my opinion are the 3 topics you just opened up. First was when you were a child, you were singing to the TV, and your mother was kind of astonished. So this can be one of the postings telling this story and getting into detail. You know, just maybe you find something in your past, or maybe you can remember some songs when you think a little bit longer about it. Then you had this great hook when you were talking, like your motivation to join the choir was to earn some pocket money. This is a really great story, and I want to know more about the choir and what you did with the pocket money. No, what was the gain? Did you want to have money? So maybe there was something you wanted to buy and accidentally, I ended up singing professionally, but I just wanted to buy a chewing gum. Oops. So this can be one of the stories. And also, good stories always to start with. Recently, I read this and that. This is also something, Alberto, you started something like that, no? Last week, I found out that she was retiring. So something happening in your life and keeps you or let's starts a journey to the past for you is always worthable posting or very valuable, because maybe other people also, we were thinking about our teachers when you told the story, or I was thinking about, I didn't read something in a very long time. Maybe I should read this book you were talking about. And it was also very hookish that you talked about being a time traveler. Singing is like time traveling for you, and this was kind of a turning point in what you want to do. And the funny part is, I learned that about you play Bach. Do you still do that? Yes, okay. And
yes.
And so, but you didn't tell people that you are doing that, because I found out through the story what you're doing. I didn't know anything about you guys before, but this story created a picture for me. And this is what storytelling is. Do you have an idea, or did you get an idea how what this kind of example or your examples should teach you? Cool. And this is actually what your captions can be like. So if you remember in the last, I don't know if you had time to look through the presentation I sent you from last time. But if you go through all the material again, this is what we just did. I asked you to narrate the story with an emphasis on a singular aspect. Now, so step one is before that you go through your mind map and you find one detail, and the start is always your key message. And then in step two, you start brainstorming or you start narrating about this detail by emphasizing one singular aspect. And sometimes it's not clear what is the singular aspect. You could also write an caption and put all the three things in your story. Actually, this would not be a big problem. Just be aware that it's more difficult to follow when you have more than one topic. So just describing the room where you had your lessons, Alberto, would be one singular aspect, and what this room made you feel, and then the information, this is the teacher who retires. This would be more round in itself. This is step two. And this is what you can use in your caption as well as for posts, like picture posts, everything which has a lot of possibility to put text in is the perfect place to tell a story. It can also be when you have a newsletter, or you can also tell stories on your homepage, on your blog. Even in offline communication, this is what people, this is what makes you memorable for people. Not telling what your last gig was and how great you are, but telling about your 80-year-old teacher is what creates emotions in the other person. So this storytelling tool is very powerful and is used a lot when you consume content in any way. You will, I think, recognize this. It's an art, this art in the future. Now I told you about the idea. So also in Reels, when we're talking about Instagram, there is the possibility to tell the story in the caption. You can also put your story in the video as text on the video. But this is the place where this tool can be very powerful. How do you feel? Should we take 5 minutes to get some fresh air and then come back for hooks? Cool. So in 5 minutes we will go on. Take a break. Welcome back. Do you have any feedback so far about all the ideas I'm sharing? What does it
Yeah,
feel like? Or what are you
for
thinking?
for me it's very nice because as I think I shared the first day that I don't have an Instagram profile yet.
Mhm.
So I think it gets me the opportunity to start really from where I really want, not doing like wrong stuff. Yeah.
You can never be wrong on Instagram.
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
I try to
But
emphasize in my last session that it's all that whenever you think there can be something wrong, you should remember being playful, creative, and try out new things. So, but so the tools I teach you today are tools who can create um, or who can start deep conversations from the beginning. So,
yeah.
and this is nice to have when you start in a gel, for sure.
Yeah. Yes, I have to say that I really like your approach, and it also helps me to uh, get to this channel a little bit more comfortably because I always feel like, oh, it's too superficial. Everyone is speaking about himself or herself, and yeah, so I am more comfortable with this approach. Thank you so much.
Cool, that's nice. Thank you. Do you have any feelings or thoughts about the session so far, Julie?
Yes, it's really sparking a lot of imagination, and it makes me actually think, okay, maybe I have something more to say that's more in line with what I'm interested in. And
Yeah.
like Alberta said, like it's very easy to be like, yeah, I don't want to just follow the herd in this way. But in another way, it's kind of hypocritical because I really love when other people share about their process and about themselves. So I mean,
And I think this is the most challenging part, to silence your critic inside yourself and just do it. Yeah. Yeah. And this is not a simple challenge. This is a process. And I think I told you last time, for me, it took like 6 years to come over myself and yeah, playing the
but can
game.
I ask, like, so when you started posting more or taking social media more seriously, even if it was hard for you, were you like giving yourself a schedule? Were you challenging yourself to post this and this much?
Hmm. Yeah, actually, I my schedule was posting once a week, and it was during my pregnancy because I was so afraid getting invisible by becoming a mother. So I decided, okay, this is my start to stay seen. So I did stage videos from the shows or for roles I played before once a week. So it was nothing about stage three in key messaging about my opinion or anything. This came far later. But first thing I did was actually posting once a week my profession, which is challenging enough, because hearing myself singing was no, I heard all the mistakes and I was like, oh my, I'm not on pitch. Oh my God, what are my eyes doing? Okay, but I just posted it. I didn't look at it afterwards, and this was my first step to creating more, to come over myself. This is what I always call it. Not taking myself so seriously. Yeah, once a week. I'm not doing that anymore. Just saying. I have phases in which I have time because with family, it's actually really hard to find the time, and you don't have to do it once a week anymore because the algorithm is different from then. I try to do a story every day to stay seen, to stay visible in my branch, in my community. This is what I do. Yeah. And I booked a coaching and was in a group, for a couple of years I always was with other people who had the same struggle. This helped a lot because everyone is, dealing with the same stuff, especially people who don't want to show themselves but their art, because it's not about me, it's always the same struggle to fight against that you don't want to put yourself first, but what you do. I think when you want to reach people, it's equal. It's 50% you and 50% what you do to really be rememberable for other people and start deep relationships. It is really important to show your personality as well. Yeah. That's not about, and this is also one last thing to that. It's not about being perfect, because that's what we always, or I think this is kind of a big challenge we are facing, because our art is fluently, and it's we are on stage, and when the concert or anything is over, it's over, and in online it's permanent. So we always want to be. We see the mistakes when we watch it again and again, and to let go of this perfectionism is really, really, really hard as a stage artist. But it's the one thing which makes you most human. And most people are more interested in when something goes wrong, rather than when everything is perfect. And you can comment it. You can, make a voiceover and say, oh, and this was a really bad concert, or I didn't get that phrase very right. It was totally off pitch. Let me show how I try to fix it. No, this can be this can be content to your key message teaching, when you show your mistakes and show how to improve it. Yeah, cool. So let's talk about hooks, which is the second powerful tool or way to get people's attention. What we just did, storytelling, is more about people who already follow you, and to draw them into your content, and getting them to know you and your personality. And hooks is the kind of tool which gets you attention. So when we're talking about the funnel, first thing is awareness. So that is what hooks can do for you. And we are using your mind map again. This is one way to find hooks. So hooks from things you hear a lot about you, your profession. You can go back to your mind map and just look at it and see what details you can find, or which topics, and think about statements you hear a lot about your profession, or about this topic of your profession, or thoughts you have especially a lot about you have a lot about being a professional singer, being I don't know, Alberto, are you a conductor? Or yes, being a professional conductor. Or things which actually happen a lot to you as a conductor. So just keep or just look at, or yeah, let's use your mind map as a base to find some of these things. Do you know what I'm aiming for? What I mean? No. Yes. For example, me as a musical actress, people always say that we can't act. Yeah, musical actresses can't act. musical is not art. As a musical actress, you have to be thin. Me as a musical actress, I think a lot about getting a role with in my mid-30s, because there are no roles for female actresses in their 30s in musical. All other actresses are younger. I don't get invitations to auditions. What actually happens a lot to me as a singer is that people say, "Oh, can you sing something?" Or that people say, "Oh, and what do you do exactly?" Or people say, "Oh, you studied. What did you study again then as a music actress?" So it's a lot of cliches. You can think about cliches, but you can also think about your daily life. Now, what I always have with me as a singer is a Luxvox. What I always have with me as a conductor. I'm really eager to know about these things, actually, because I don't know what you always have with you. Maybe your iPad, maybe your, what is it? Is it a conducting stick? Is this the English word for it? Or
Yeah, but for choirs, well, in America they use it, but in Europe it's not that's common to conduct choirs with a button.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So everything typically in thoughts or experiences as in your profession. Think about this stuff, and then we will meet again and talk about it. Here also some instructions if you need some more input. You can think about which was typical for your profession, a typical problem, maybe a typical misunderstanding you're facing a lot. Also things who are magical for everyone else, but totally normal for you, because we're kind of blind in this kind of stuff, for I think my child thinks everyone can play the piano and sing because she's growing up with two singers as parents. But so for us, this is normal, but for everyone else, that's not normal. These kind of things. Do we have something? Okay, can you write it down in the chat as one sentence, or the one thing or thought or sentence you think is the most hookish one from the ones you just came up with?
So you just want one sentence because I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes.
5 different things.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, just pick one. We can also, if you can't decide, put all of them in the chat, and we talk about which is the hookishest, the most hookish one.
Okay.
Cool. You finished conservatory, so you know everything there is to know, right? Let's talk about this phrase. Oh, they are coming out. Nice. Okay, I better pick one for now, and we were talking about Julie's first. What could your footage look like to this hook?
Yeah, so it came from non-musical colleagues. I had one colleague in one of the churches I work in who was very, very surprised to hear that musicians still need to practice after finishing conservatory. And I just thought that was so funny. And I thought, okay, do other people really think like this, that we are just done? So, I mean, it could be, footage of studying, reading, practicing, taking lessons, going to workshops. Yeah, a lot of.
Okay, you just said the most effective one is you practicing. Or the simplest one, because you can just do it. You don't need anybody else. You don't need another room. You're just practicing. So this would be the effortless one. You definitely need you singing there because we don't have a keyword in this hook. If you don't have a keyword in the hook, you need to make sure that in the footage I see what you do. Otherwise, it has to be you should add as a singer. Yeah. This is important for the algorithm.
Where would you put that in a session like that, or sentence like that?
You finished conservatory as a singer, so you know everything there is to know, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, you don't need to be singing in the reel, which is much more effortless. And this is actually what I want to do next with you guys. You just need your face and putting on an emotion. Yeah, like a selfie, but in video, and you're like, for example, or any other emotion you have. So you don't have to sing, but showing emotion and your face is one of the hookiest way to get people's attention. And then they read, so they see your emotion first, and then they read what it is about, so they can decide if they're also in the singer bubble or in the artist bubble, and they read on. Probably a great story about this experience with your colleague. Yeah, we can now use all the storytelling because this is what you were coming from, remembering this event with your colleague, no, with your friend, asking this. So this can be the story in the caption, and then you have a great reel. Cool. Did you pick one, Alberto? Which one?
I think first one can be funny, but also use it for advocacy for horror
Okay,
computers.
what can the footage be for the first one?
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, I could for 6 months or whatever, so the different venues that I have to conduct just to make some films of the the things that I use to conduct instead of the music stands. So like tables or just a church stand or anything that is there.
Okay, this
Uh,
is this is a lot of effort. Yeah, because
uh,
you have to just saying it's a really it would be a really cool reel to do so, and it's kind of a long time reel because you have to collect footage over time.
mhm,
More simple would be like holding, for example, your sheet music and chunk, yeah, this could be some seconds of um, getting someone's attention. I see you with a conducting stick, and on the other hand, like some books of music, and it all falls down or
mhm,
something.
mhm, mhm,
Now, this could be a very effortlessly way to collect footage for this kind of hook. Just saying, and it depends on how much time you have. Um, your approach is a more documentary one. My approach is a more, creating and being a creator approach. But
mhm,
both
mhm.
ways are totally possible, and it's very funny. I like it a lot. And the story for the caption would be,
For the
can you
story,
remember a funny moment where had to improvise and conduct with
like all the time.
all the time? Okay.
Yes, but yeah, I
Okay, then
know.
it can
Like,
be like you make a list of
hmm
what your improvised conducting stands have been.
hmm yeah,
I think there are a lot of examples you already
hmm
conducted with, right?
yes,
And then this is can also be the story or the funny letting people dive into your rabbit hole by reading all the different
hmm
improvised conducting stands. It doesn't always have to be the story. It can also be a number of a list of things you experienced. This is also kind of getting to know you, or it is a way to get to know you and your life and your profession by making lists of what happened to you already.
hmm
Another way to create hooks. So this is one way to create hooks. You use your mind map. You're thinking about, typical stuff, and you come up with sentences. And because we don't have time. You think of the simplest way to create footage to that. Or maybe you already have footage. Rather put your hook on an imperfect footage than leaving it for 2 years on your cell phone and then don't feel it anymore, because this happens a lot. You make all these lists and it's fun to come up with the lists, and then you don't get to post it because you don't feel it, or there's not the footage, there's not the time. So rather just put it out there than restricting yourself by wanting to be perfect, because there's no right or wrong. Just to remember this point again. Another way to create a hook or to use hooks for you is to use typical hooks or phrases, wording that create curiosity by itself. So here are some examples. And actually, on Instagram, there are a lot of creators who offer you these kind of hooks. And you just put your branch, your niche in it. And then you have also a great hook. So for now, go through these examples and find the one which speaks the most to you, and change it or add a keyword or an experience, a thought, anything which puts it in your branch, which puts it in your profession. This can be another approach. Can you read it? Is it big enough? Yeah. Okay. You find one?
Could you maybe give an example? Maybe that would help.
Yeah, maybe I just it was not clear. So you don't have to rephrase it, but choose one and then we talk about footage for your branch. It's also possible with all the sentence who are already finished, like you will adore this. Where should I put the keyword there? But we can talk about which footage would put this into your branch or into your niche. But for example, I was not informed regarding you can finish the sentence within something you are thinking about, like I was not informed regarding motherhood and being an actress is very difficult. I was not informed regarding most venues don't have a conducting stand. I was not informed regarding opera singers are seen as entertainers. Which is the one who speaks most to you? And then we would just talk about it. Is there any sentence which hooks you?
Yeah, maybe the first one, but I don't know how to finish it.
The truth remains unspoken about.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did it hook you? Is there a truth in your profession you want to speak about?
Maybe.
Yeah. We can
Yeah,
use the example you had before. The truth remains unspoken about. You are not finished after studying singing.
yeah. Yes, I get this question a lot. So
Yeah.
you're finished now, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, technically.
Yeah. And this is the truth, actually. The work just begins.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, speaking of key messaging, this can also put yourself into a place where you want to teach in the future,
Mhm.
but with content marketing, not with offering lessons. Alberto, do you have one sentence which is hookish to you?
Yes, I think that the first one should be the easiest, so it's easy
Mm-hmm.
to think of many. But I am wondering, like something like, could you please reframe? I don't
Mm-hmm.
really understand what would be a hook with that.
Um, let me think about it. Mm,
Maybe could you please refrain from asking singers to sing for you out of nowhere?
or have, I actually have to just find out the meaning of refrain in its wholeness again to get some ideas. Could you please refrain asking? Okay. So the footage could be. I'm thinking about the cliche that how a conductor has to conduct, or that you're compared to other conductors, maybe popular ones or something. So I don't know what you wear when you're conducting, but there's this kind of picture how people see conductors, and this could be something you want to break. Can you say that in English? So could you please refrain and then undertitle that conductors have to wear a what's the the dress
I
code?
should, or yeah.
A suit, or can you please refrain that a conductor has to conduct with a conducting stick?
Button.
Um, anything,
Okay. Yeah. I
yeah,
understand it now.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Mm, or as well, I don't know. I know a lot of conductors who can't play the piano very well. So this could also be very provocative. No, assuming that I'm a correpetitor, that I'm this is totally different.
Yes.
Some things like that. So it's I like it a lot that you your associations with your mind map were more you had more ideas out of your mind map than these phrases, because I would always recommend going the first path, because this is how you phrase it, how your wording is again your personality. And so this is the more branding way to start finding hooks. The other way is sometimes faster. If you don't have an idea, just go through one of these lists, and then you maybe get an idea what can be a phrase. Did you get an idea for hooks?
Yes.
Okay,
I just have a question. Hooks are only for the reels or also for the text posts?
it's a good question. So ideally, you have a hook on your reel, so text on video. You have a hook on your picture posts, so text on photo. And the first sentence in your caption should, if you really want to make it work, like people get into a rabbit hole, you have another hook as a first sentence of your caption. But the most important one is the one on your footage. And it doesn't matter if it's the photo or if it's the picture. A hook can also be invisible content. So I don't know, for when I made the suggestion, you conducting and at the same time, losing sheet music, this is also a very strong visible hook. Therefore, maybe I don't need the writing on the video. But it's a simple way when you don't have very special footage to get the attention of your audience, to put text on it. So on as well as on your footage, but also first sentence of your caption.
Mhm.
Okay, so we are through with the session, but it was one wish was that we dive into the cutting tool of Instagram. So I would do so for another couple of minutes if you want to get to know this as well. Yeah, cool. Because it's not so difficult, or you don't have to think very complicated in your creating, or for especially video creating. In the beginning, it really is enough to just film 3 to 4 seconds without any cut. Just put a hook on it and write a good storytelling caption. Doesn't have to be good, a storytelling caption. And this is enough to start with creating content. And all the fancy stuff with a lot of cutting and so is future problem, because my experience is that to begin creating is the biggest challenge. So let's do what I suggested. Can you, for now, make a selfie video of yourself with a strong emotion or reaction? You don't have to post it. It's just it's being playful and having fun, and to show you that you don't have to show your profession in creating. So one short video, and we can actually film it in the app. I show you how to do it.
Yeah, yes, from my side, that I don't have Instagram
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
Yes, so I will just see how it works and try
Okay,
it.
cool. You can also just observe. So
Yeah.
to create a reel, it has for 2 weeks, Instagram has a new surface. The main difference is that the plus is not down there anymore. So in all my slides, it's the old surface of Instagram, but the plus to create is now up on the left side. But
Mine looks different from yours, though. It has a
okay, so
plus.
you have the old one with the plus in the middle. Okay. It's called rollout. Rollout means that not every account will have it at the same time, but it slowly starts rolling out this new tool or this new surface or whatever Instagram invents. So this is a rollout. I have it on both of my accounts now, but it took a couple of weeks until it was on both accounts. So the important thing is that creating happens through the plus. So you choose the plus, or you push the plus and then choose reel down there. And then you're in your camera roll. We're renting a house. That's why you see all these pictures there. And this is the button to film in the app, within the app. So when I choose this, I have an inception moment right there, picture in picture. I turn the camera to get the selfie. And the white button is to start and stop the video. And I would recommend when you do these selfie playful things to look in the camera. So not looking at yourself, but look into the camera on your phone. And 3 seconds of filming strong emotion. And then I press next. So in this surface, I could also already add music, but I never do this. So I show you my workflow now. I go to next, and now I am in the nice picture. Now I'm in the reel editor, and you have a lot of options to put stuff on your video now. The most important one is this text button. And I would write a hook now. I use a very general one. Oops. And by putting your finger on it, you can just move it wherever you want it. When you move it, you see that on the sides that there are these yellow areas shown when I move there. And this is Instagram, which tells me don't put the text there because it will overlap with all the stuff also shown on Instagram, like the likes and so on. So put it rather in the middle of your footage. And in the second step, when I have put a hook on my video, I edit the footage. And either you click on edit video or you just wish onto the top, then it also the edit window opens. And this is like in every video editor, you have on the top of the screen, you have the video which comes out in the end, and below you have all the different small videos and what is it in English?
Clips or
Frames.
clips?
Frames, yeah, but I don't know if this is the correct word. So frames is, I mean the lines. You know, I have the line of the video, I have a line for my text, and I could also have a line for a second video which is above the first one, but it's not so complicated in the editor. If you have a normal video editor on the computer, you can put many, many videos above each other. And the one which is on top is the one which is seen in the video.
What is the point of having several? Is it so that you can cut between
You-
them quickly,
You
or?
can time it. So when I click on the line for my text, I can put my finger left or right, and there time when this sentence stops its visibility. You see? At the end of the video, it stops. So I could even time single words with different. So when I uh sorry, when I want to give an answer to my hook, I could first start with the hook and then make my point of view to it. Think about politics, gross. Yeah. So this is the different lines are to time your the different elements of your reel. I would rather having my reaction, my emotion in the first 2 seconds. So I cut the video material now. And this is the same principle. I click on the line for my video and it turns yellow. And with my fingers left and right, I can shorten the video until my emotion starts. And actually, this is what I mostly do with my reels. I have a very simple video. I think a lot about the hook. And I think a lot about the story in the caption. But the video footage is not so important. Oh my, why did it vanish?
There's one thing that I noticed when I'm watching other people's reels, though, with the caption, is that I think you have to be aware of the colors in the video because text can sometimes disappear if like the colors are too light.
Yes, this is about aesthetics. So you always have to think about which plops most. So what is the thing first seen? And if you want your text to be seen first, I would recommend to use contrast color than your footage is in. So therefore, if I want not my reaction being seen first, but the text, I would choose a different color to bring it more in front, to be seen first. This is something you have to practice, and I think in the last session I told you about this 1 second rule. So if you're designing a reel or a photo or whatever, show it to a person that has no idea what you're creating right now, and if this person sees in 1 second what was important for you, or what you want to be seen first, and she doesn't or he doesn't tell you this element, then you should change something in your graphic design. Yeah.
So I just have a question.
Yes.
For the normal reels that you do on your channel, how many video clips do you usually mix?
You mean how many reels I post, or how many video
No,
clips for one reel?
yes, that's it.
One.
Okay,
So
okay.
I think this is the most effective way to start creating without cutting, without different snippets. When you start creating, make it simple for yourself, make it effective. Overcome your obstacle in starting. And I know we are all creative persons and we are thinking about, oh, and then I jump in the video and then I make like long-term reels, and you start planning, and you start scripting your reels. But actually, your audience will mostly watch 1 second in the beginning. So don't waste your time by starting with the image that it has to be fancy. Warm up your audience by just putting you out there with videos. I always say it's a switch from so video is the kind of content which works, and you can switch everything you wanted to post in photo into a video. So not taking a picture, but taking a video for 3 seconds, putting a hook on it, and it's a perfect reel. Put more work and more thinking in your wording and your thinking about key phrases and stuff than in creating fancy video content at the moment. And I think it will keep or it will stay that way. This is the human want to see humans, and by putting your point of view to to the topics you want to talk about, this is the most effective way that people will react to your content. And this is actually what you want to have, because it's all about interactions on Instagram. It's what feeds the algorithm. It's what builds your network. So don't waste time in long long content formats and creating.
So as far as I understood, then the main content would be in the text of the reel, right? Like where you go deeper on the topic, etc.
Yes.
Okay, and not in the
Yes.
video itself, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It works both ways. If you are brave, or if you're, you can also tell the story in a video. But for my experience, this is kind of, next level for most of people. Just talking, we are singing, we are conducting. Talking about yourself online is for most people is very, very difficult or very challenging. If you feel free, it would be the most effective way to show personality. When you just go live, this is one way, to make a long video content is going live, um, or yeah, even make a reel with 3 minutes and tell the story of your teacher. Be aware that in these long video content stuff, also use a hook in the first seconds. So don't start with "Hi, I'm" or "Hi, I wanted to tell you," because these are the 2 seconds which make a difference if people will follow and listen or not. So start like with I started playing piano in a very uncomfortable place. Also, the idea of hooking and storytelling also in all your spoken content is a great tool to get people's attention and keep the attention. So both ways, my experience is that in the beginning, it's easier to write the stories than speak them. And make it a challenge to maybe in half a year speak the story and just write nothing. Some keywords in the caption. Cool. Are there any other questions you have? Cool. Yeah, if you like, you can give me some feedback or some thoughts, how you feel at the moment. What is your next step with all this marketing stuff, with all the Instagram, and write me one sentence in the chat. That would be lovely. How do you feel right now? What is your Instagram or your marketing approach in the future? What is the thing you go home with from this 2 sessions we had together? Nice. This is so cool. Yeah, you have permission and the confidence. And I'm very glad that that this is kind of a effect my 2 sessions had on your thoughts about marketing and Instagram. Thank you very much for listening and being so open-minded about all the exercises we did today. I hope you can use your mind map for future content creating, and that we will meet again, especially on Instagram, and share our networks. That would be very, very nice. Have a great day and a great time in the last couple of days of this project. I think it's really great that you have the opportunity to to be in this project. And yeah.
Thank you so much. It was great.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah, it was very fun.
Cool.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.